There is a knowledge older than history, older than language, older than the stars we name but do not understand. It echoes not through textbooks or institutions, but through dreams, synchronicities, inner knowings, whispers, from a time when humans and cosmos still spoke the same tongue, before religions, before science, before governments. There was only the seeker and the stars, the breath, and the mystery behind it. In every ancient culture, behind every sacred symbol and stone-carved glyph, we find the same golden thread. The universe is not chaos. It is consciousness, pattern, intelligence in motion, and this intelligence, this breath of creation, moves according to laws, not commandments to obey, but principles to remember, not punishments from above, but reflections of what is, within you, around you, and through you. The Hermetic principles are not modern discoveries. They are remnants of a time when wisdom was not information, but transmission, carried from temple to temple, from master to student, from dream to waking life. To walk the Hermetic path is not to learn something new. It is to remember what your soul already knows, that the mind creates, that vibration organizes, that polarity unites, that rhythm heals, that every cause has its echo, and that within you are both the seed and the womb of creation. But we've forgotten. We built cities without spirit. We traded silence for noise. We silenced the feminine. We mechanized the masculine. We divided science and soul, matter and meaning, logic and love. And now we call this fragmentation normal. But the Hermetic principles are the antidote, not a religion, not a belief system, a mirror, one that shows you the hidden architecture of all things and the sacred blueprint that exists within you. So what are these principles? Where did they come from? And how can they help us remember the divine pattern, not just in the stars or scriptures, but in our relationships, emotions, and daily decisions? That is the journey ahead, and it begins here. Take a breath. You're stepping into ancient, current now. The universe has always been speaking. You're just learning how to listen. They called him Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice great, master of wisdom, master of words, master of worlds. A being who stood at the crossroads of two civilizations, Thoth of ancient Egypt, god of sacred geometry, speech, and celestial timing, and Hermes of Greece, messenger of the gods, keeper of hidden paths and alchemical secrets. But Hermes is not just a myth, nor merely a man. He is an archetype, the awakened mind in harmony with the cosmos, the union of knowledge and intuition. He is the inner guide who waits silently behind your thoughts, ready to speak when you are finally quiet enough to listen. To some, Hermes lived thousands of years ago in Atlantis or ancient Kemet. To others, he is a collective name, a lineage of sages, alchemists, mystics, and scribes who preserved the sacred teachings through the rise and fall of empires. His words echo through tablets, scrolls, manuscripts, and symbols carved in stone. But they were never meant only for the elite. They were meant for the awake. For those who dared to look beyond appearance, who saw patterns in chaos, who questioned the nature of fate, time, self, and soul. One of the most powerful fragments of Hermetic wisdom is the Emerald Tablet, a short poetic verse said to contain the secrets of all transmutation, physical, spiritual, and mental. It opens with a line that still echoes through esoteric traditions. That which is below is like that which is above, and that which is above is like that which is below. This isn't just philosophy. It's a cosmic axiom, a key to how your body reflects the universe, how your inner world shapes the outer world, and how to create from the center of being. The tablet speaks of the sun as father, the moon as mother, the wind as the carrier, of spirit, and of the process by which the soul refines itself into gold. Not literal gold, but consciousness, clarity, essence. Centuries passed, empires rose and fell, and much of the Hermetic teachings disappeared from view, hidden in symbols, buried under doctrine, exiled into secrecy, until 1908. A small book was published under the mysterious name The Three Initiates, its title, The Kybalion. It was not a history, it was not a dogma, it was a transmission, a distillation of the eternal laws whispered through the Hermetic current. Who wrote it? Some say it was William Walker Atkinson. Others believe it was channeled. Some say it doesn't matter, and because truth once spoken carries its own resonance. The Kybalion laid out 7 Hermetic principles, not as beliefs, but as laws that govern everything, your thoughts, your emotions, your relationships, your manifestations, your healing, your suffering, your awakening. We live in a time of noise, of infinite information and little wisdom, of hyper-connection and deep disconnection. We've forgotten the invisible architecture of reality and the subtle laws that weave the inner with the outer, the seen with the unseen. The Hermetic principles are not meant to control life. They are meant to illuminate it. They show us how to dance with the currents rather than be pulled under by them. They offer us maps, not to escape the world, but to move through it as conscious, sovereign creators. So now, we return, not to the past, but to the timeless. We return to Hermes, to the whisper behind the veil, to the sacred geometry behind every breath. We return to the wisdom that says, you are not just part of the universe. You are the universe, expressed, embodied, becoming. There are 7 laws, 7 keys, 7 mirrors, through which the universe reveals itself. They are not steps. They are not linear. They are vibrations, interwoven threads that move through every layer of existence. Mentalism. All is mind. Reality begins in consciousness. What you think becomes. The outer world is shaped by the inner world, not the other way around. Correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. There is no separation between microcosm and macrocosm. Every pattern in the stars echoes within your breath, your cells, your choices. Vibration. Nothing rests. Everything moves. All things, seen and unseen, are in motion. Your emotions, your voice, your energy, they all emit a frequency, and that frequency creates polarity. Everything is dual. Opposites are identical in nature, different in degree. Love and hate, light and dark, joy and grief, and they are 2 ends of the same current. When you master polarity, you no longer react, you alchemize. Rhythm. Everything flows in and out. There is a tide in all things. The universe breathes. Inhale, exhale, wax, wane. To resist rhythm is to suffer. To dance with it is to return to wholeness. Cause and effect. Every cause has an effect. Every effect has its cause. Nothing is random. Everything you experience is linked to something you once thought, felt, or chose. And every choice now ripples forward. Gender exists in everything. There is masculine and feminine in all. Not about bodies, but about principles. The directive and the receptive, the active and the intuitive. Creation only arises when these polarities are balanced and integrated. Together, these 7 laws form a blueprint, a sacred architecture, not of buildings or belief systems, but of being. They are the invisible scaffolding behind everything that lives, breathes, feels, evolves. They are alive, not just in ancient texts, but in your thoughts, your cycles, your relationships, your dreams. When ignored, they seem like fate. When understood, they become tools of transformation. And now you stand at a threshold. You can continue as before, pulled by tides you don't understand, or begin to read the current. You can walk as if blindfolded, or start seeing the signs, the rhythms, the symmetry in all things. You can see life as random, or realize you are a participant in the divine equation. In the coming episodes, we will enter each of these principles, not just to explain them, but to feel them, live them, and reclaim their power. We begin where everything begins, with mind. Because if all is mind, then learning to shape thought is learning to shape reality. The universe is mental. Creation begins within. You were not born to drift through patterns you don't understand. You were born to remember, to sense the hidden order beneath appearances, to feel the rhythm behind the chaos, to walk as one who knows the terrain of spirit, even while dwelling in flesh. And perhaps somewhere along your path, through a dream, a book, a teacher, or a strange coincidence, you've already heard the whisper, there is more to this life than what you've been told. These teachings are not just ancient, they are alive, pulsing in your breath, mirrored in your relationships, humming behind your emotions, waiting in your moments of stillness. They do not ask for your belief. They ask for your attention. Look closely at what you attract. Feel what you resonate with. Observe how your thoughts shape your day. Notice how cycles repeat until wisdom is born. The Hermetic principles don't belong to any religion. They belong to reality itself. To walk this path is not to become perfect. It is to become aware, to rise above automatic reaction, to stop outsourcing your power, to live in rhythm, not resistance. It is not about escaping the world. It is about illuminating it from within. You will not be told what to think, but you will learn to see, to sense, to align. You will become a student of the unseen, and eventually, a co-creator of your reality. So here's your invitation. Walk with me through these ancient teachings, through symbols and stories, through inner initiations no institution could ever provide. Together, we will explore each of the 7 Hermetic principles, not as abstract ideas, but as living forces within and around you. The path ahead is not linear. It is spiral. It curves inward and then expands outward, and like all true wisdom, it begins in silence and ends in remembrance. In the next episode, we begin with the principle of mentalism, the foundation of all Hermetic knowledge. The law that teaches all is mind. We'll explore how your thoughts shape your reality, how consciousness precedes form, and how you can begin to work with this law, not just read about it. So if this calls to you, if your heart stirs with recognition, then subscribe, turn on the bell, and prepare to dive deep. Because this isn't just a video series. This is a sacred remembering. You are not separate from the universe. You are the universe, remembering itself.